Okay, I'm busy making spark plugs. I got the bases made the way I want them. I'm going to have an electrode with two little side posts for it. And I cut up some little pieces of corian material. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the lathe, and I got a collet in there that these squares will actually fit in. And I'm going to rough turn this to 3/8 diameter, and then I'll go ahead and I'll make my insulators. But yeah, I just cut them out on bandsaw, went over to the mill and milled them down to where they slide kind of nice into the collet. It's not a square collet, it's a round collet, but it'll still work as long as I take it easy, and I've been doing it that way, and it works. It's just got to be careful when I turn that first 3/8 diameter, then I can flip it around, put it in a 3/8 collet, and finish it, and then go ahead and make my electrodes. So that's what I'm going to do. And I went ahead and I made a swaging tool for it. And what I'll do is I'll thread that into this base, and then that goes into this alignment tool. Basically, it's a piece of heavy walled tubing that I bored out for a 3/4, nice slide fit for a 3/4, and that'll go in there, and the spark plug will be in there. And then I take the form tool, which basically it's just a hole through it I took a ball end mill and put a full radius there, and that'll come down on the part and squeeze that in, and squeeze it around the collar. But I haven't got the depth set yet, so I'll have to figure out what depth, and I'll adjust that either by putting shims underneath this. I'll either put shims underneath this or cut the alignment tool down a little bit, one way or the other. But that I'll have to experiment with. I'll probably go light on it and then adjust from there. So when I start swaging it, I'll come back and I'll video that. But as far as turning the electrodes, I'm not going to video that. That's pretty straightforward. Just turning up diameters. I got a little sketch here of the diameters I want. And I'm only making two of them. Otherwise, I could set up my NC and do like I did on my V8. But when I only have two of them to do, I'm just going to do them here. So, and I'll get a chance to use my high speed to drill the hole through. I'll drill it halfway from one side and then halfway from the other side. So, and then plus I got to make my little brass tops yet too. When I get to putting them together, I'll come back. Okay, I got the parts laying here for a spark plug, and I've already soldered the electrode to the little brass. I just soldered it on top. I just stuck it through and stuck it in my little helping hand and soldered that. So now we're ready to swage this one together. But before I swage it together, I want to take some high temp RTV sealant, and I just put a little dab. That's a huge dab. I gotta wipe some of that off. I just want a little bit on it, just to help seal it up. And then push it into place. I got that stuff all over the place. Okay, so now it's in position where it belongs. And I take the anvil part and thread that in all the way down. Okay. Then I take my alignment sleeve here, and I made a spacer up for the right height. All it is a spacer with a hole through it so that the spark plug can fit into that. And that you slide that in, and then you got the anvil here, or the anvil, the form ram, you might want to call it. Put that in. Okay, and then to form that, to squeeze it, I go over to the vise. I'll go over here to the vise, and see if I can set you up here somewhere. So I just open the vise up and then lay that in there. Just lay it down on the bottom there. And take the vise handle here, and then just give it a squeeze. It doesn't take much. I should have done it. And take this back out. I'm trying to hold on, and there it is. I could have went shorter with that collar, but it'll be okay. So then we go back over here and we got to put the electrode in. So take and unthread this and wipe off the stuff that I got on there that I don't want. Unthread that. And I got a box of Kleenexes here. I use Kleenex to wipe that off. Try to wipe that off. Actually, looking at it, I should have made these a little shorter. They look a little long. I'm going to put my cap on my silicone, or it'll all dry up. Alright, super glue. And what I've done is I've countersunk this on this side, on the outside edge, and actually the hole is just a little bit bigger on this, on the first 100th thou or so. That way I can just take the super glue, dab some on there, and it just kind of wicks down in there. And then I take the electrode and just put a couple drops on here and there down the, if it would quit rolling away from me. And pick that up. Stick that in place. Just going to hold it for a while. It takes a little bit for it to set up. I'm going to put a little more on. And if I just leave that set, it'll set up and lock in place. I've done two other ones, so this is the third one. I got one spare, and I'll show you what it looks like over here. I got it. I still have my board set up here, and I got just a regular spark plug in there. I'll drop that out of there, and I'll set you down here. I'm going to set you there for a second and get one of the spark plugs that I've already done. Alright, this is one that I've already done. And we'll just open that jaws up here. Set that in there. Put the spark plug bar on the end. Alright. I've got my magnet here, and alright, got the spark plug in over here on where the wires hooked up. Got the board hooked up to the battery, the Hall effect sensor, got the magnet. The spark plug seems to work pretty good. So, got spark plugs done. Back to the ignition. I'll have to work on that. I did make spacer to hold the cover out a ways. Made a spacer ring. That'll hold the cover out a ways, and it'll give me I think it was 60 thousandths of clearance, extra clearance above this gear. So my sensor unit will fit and shield this gear, and the wire will be on the other side of the shield so that it won't rub on that. I've got that on my drawing board. Pretty much got it all drawn up. Just need to write a little program for it. So I will go do that, and then we'll get the hull mount put on. So I guess that's going to be it. Didn't show too much of the spark plugs though, but it worked good. I mean, that swaging, my little swaging tool for swaging actually worked pretty darn good. Like I say, I could have went smaller with the top. It looks a little out of proportion. I should have went maybe about half that height. I'll remember that next time. I'll adjust that on my drawing. I'm gonna take that down a ways and plus make them shorter. And I threaded one in the head. That's why I'm saying, yeah, it looks a little long. I should have been trying it down to that first ring. So I can thread this one in. It'll be okay. It'll work. They'll work anyway. And then I got the carburetor here. I don't have that put in place. I could have put it in there. But the carburetor intake tube and everything, that's done. The only thing left is that and the kick. Then naturally the Kickstarter. And I did put a fill tube in for putting oil in. I'm thinking about taking and going down here and putting a sight glass in. I was going to put a dipstick in here, but I'm almost afraid to, because there's not a whole lot of clearance between the flywheel. So I could come over to the side here, so I'll have to think about that. Oh, and then the vent, I'm going to make a positive ventilation valve to screw into there, and that'll vent everything out. It won't suck anything in, but it'll vent out. It'll be a little ball check valve, so the bottom can't pressurize. So, anyway, that's where I'm at. Catch you later.